Marie was tired. The long hours at the clinic had drained her, and all she wanted was the comfort of her small house, shared with 2 friends a few miles outside of town. The drive was usually a peaceful transition from the day's demands to the quiet of home, a winding road cutting through dense, ancient forest. Tonight, however, the air felt heavy, oppressive, as if the trees themselves were pressing in. She was just a few miles from her turnoff when it happened. A sudden, violent jolt, a sickening thump, 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 and the unmistakable lurch of a blown tire. Marie gripped the steering wheel, wrestling the car to the shoulder of the narrow road. The sun, a bruised orange orb, was already sinking below the horizon, casting long, skeletal shadows through the thick woods on both sides. Sighing, she killed the engine, plunging the immediate area into an eerie silence, broken only by the ticking of the cooling engine and the distant, unseen sounds of the forest coming alive. She grabbed her phone. No signal, of course. With a growing sense of unease, she stepped out, the chill of the evening air already biting. She knelt by the front tire, the rubber shredded and useless. Just as she straightened up, her fingers brushing against the cold metal of the fender, something grabbed her. Not a hand, not a paw, but something immense, powerful, and distinctly on 2 feet, clamped around her waist from behind. A wave of sickening metallic odor like old blood and damp earth assaulted her nostrils. Before she could scream, she was being dragged backward, off the asphalt, into the impenetrable wall of trees. Thorns tore at her clothes, branches lashed at her face, but Marie fought with a primal, desperate strength. She kicked, twisted, clawed at whatever held her, a guttural cry tearing from her throat. The grip was relentless, but her struggles were enough. With a final, desperate wrench, she tore free, tumbling forward into the undergrowth. Without a second thought, she scrambled to her feet and ran blindly, deeper into the forest, away from the road, away from the thing that had just tried to claim her. Panic was a cold, sharp blade in her chest, driving her forward. Every snapping twig behind her, every rustle of leaves, was amplified into a thunderous pursuit. She didn't know where she was going, only that she had to put as much distance as possible between herself and the unseen horror. The forest, once a comforting presence, was now a suffocating, hostile labyrinth. The darkness beneath the canopy was absolute, broken only by the faint, shifting shadows cast by the moon filtering through the thick branches. She ran until her lungs burned, until her legs ached, until she stumbled, falling hard onto the damp forest floor. Scrambling up, she pressed herself against the rough bark of a massive oak, trying to control her ragged breathing. The metallic, earthy smell was fainter here, but still present, clinging to the air like a shroud. She listened, straining her ears. Silence. A terrifying, heavy silence. Then, she heard it. A soft, rhythmic thump. Not heavy footsteps, but something dragging, something moving with a deliberate, unnatural gait. It was coming from the direction she had run, slowly, methodically. It was tracking her. Desperate, Marie scanned her surroundings. Her eyes landed on a cluster of ancient, gnarled roots at the base of the oak, forming a shallow, dark cavity. It was small, cramped, but it was cover. She squeezed herself into the space, pulling dead leaves and loose earth over her legs, trying to become one with the forest floor. The cold, damp earth pressed against her, but she barely noticed. All she could focus on was the approaching thump. The sound grew louder, closer. The metallic, earthy smell intensified, filling her small hiding spot, making her stomach churn. She could hear the soft crunch of leaves, the snap of twigs, directly outside her makeshift refuge. It was moving slowly, meticulously, as if searching. She squeezed her eyes shut, trying to control her breathing, trying to make herself invisible. Then, the thump, thump, thump stopped. Directly in front of her hiding place, Marie could feel its presence, a vast, cold shadow looming over her. She heard a soft, wet sniff right above her head, followed by a low, guttural huff. It was close. So close, she could feel a faint, putrid breath stirring the leaves just inches from her face. She imagined its unseen head, tilted, its nostrils flaring, trying to pinpoint her scent. After what felt like an eternity, the thump, thump, thump resumed, slowly, methodically, moving away, deeper into the forest, but not in the direction she had come. It was still searching, but had moved past her. Marie remained frozen, not daring to move, even after the sounds faded into the oppressive quiet once more. She stayed hidden for what felt like hours, every muscle screaming from the cold and tension. Her phone showed it was past 3 a.m. She knew she couldn't stay. It would return. Slowly, painfully, she crawled out from under the roots, her limbs stiff and aching. The metallic smell lingered, a phantom presence in the air. She decided to move parallel to the direction the creature had gone, hoping to circle back towards the road, but staying deep within the trees. She moved as silently as possible, each step a conscious effort to avoid snapping twigs. As she moved, she began to notice them. Not sounds, not direct sights, but subtle disturbances. Small, freshly broken branches hanging precariously from trees, too high for any animal. Patches of disturbed earth where something large had clearly passed, leaving faint, indistinct impressions. And then, the most unsettling detail. Small, crudely tied knots of dried grass and twigs hanging from low branches, almost invisible in the dark. They weren't natural. They felt like markers. A cold dread settled over her. It wasn't just tracking her. It was guiding her, leading her somewhere. Suddenly, a faint, almost imperceptible whisper drifted through the trees, carried on a breath of unnaturally cold air.
"Lost, little lamb."
It was a dry, raspy voice, like crumbling leaves, and it seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, echoing inside her skull. Marie froze, her blood turning to ice. It was playing with her. She ran again, panic overriding caution, crashing through the undergrowth, ignoring the branches that clawed at her. The whispers seemed to follow her, distorted and mocking, growing louder, more frequent.
"Almost home."
She burst into a small clearing, bathed in the faint, eerie glow of the rising moon. In the center stood a single, ancient, gnarled tree, its branches twisted like skeletal arms. And beneath it, partially obscured by shadow, was a figure. It was impossibly tall, gaunt, its limbs disproportionately long. Its skin, what she could glimpse of it in the dim light, seemed to be a mottled gray, almost like bark. Its head was small, almost featureless, but she could make out two pinpricks of light, reflecting the moonlight, the eyes she had seen earlier. They were fixed on her, unblinking. It stood utterly still, radiating a profound, ancient malevolence. The metallic, earthy smell was overwhelming now, mixed with something else, something cloying and sweet like rotting meat. Marie couldn't scream. She couldn't move. She was paralyzed, staring into the face of pure, unadulterated horror. The creature slowly, almost imperceptibly, raised one of its impossibly long arms, its hand ending in long, dark, almost twig-like fingers. It pointed, not at her, but behind her. She didn't dare look, but she felt it. A new presence, closer and directly behind her, a cold breath on her neck. With a guttural cry of pure, animalistic terror, Marie broke free of her paralysis. She didn't look back. She just ran, not towards the road, but directly away from the clearing, deeper into the unknown darkness of the forest. She ran until her lungs burned, until her legs gave out, stumbling and crawling through the undergrowth, driven by the absolute certainty that if she stopped, she would be lost forever. She ran until the first undeniable rays of dawn pierced through the canopy, painting the forest in hues of gray and faint gold. She ran until she burst out of the tree line, collapsing onto a dirt road she didn't recognize, miles from anywhere familiar. She flagged down the first vehicle that passed, a beat-up pickup truck driven by an elderly local. He took one look at her disheveled, terrified face, her wide, haunted eyes, and didn't ask questions. He just drove, casting nervous, knowing glances in his rearview mirror, as if expecting the darkness behind them to coalesce into something tangible, even in the morning light. The memory of that night, the unseen presence, the silent hand, the sickening smell, the distorted whispers, and the impossibly tall figure in the clearing, was burned into her mind. She never saw its face clearly, but its presence, its unnerving stillness, haunted her dreams for years, a shadow that still lurked in the periphery of her vision, a chilling reminder that some things in the dark are better left undisturbed, and some hunts, once begun, never truly end. If you enjoyed this descent into the darkness, please consider giving this video a like. Don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying tales. Want to support my work? Consider buying me a coffee, or join as a member at buymeacoffee.com, Lt.Nightmare. Link is in the description. As a member, you will receive early access to upcoming videos, merch, and videos too graphic for YouTube. Thanks for watching. Lt.Nightmare, signing out.